You may proceed, Don.
Very good. So first thing of business is for the month of July, all compliance monitoring of our parameters were all met. The second thing we had was our lab does a quality control test with the EPA, and we were at all the parameters and acceptable levels, which is good news for us. That means our lab's compliant. Other things we got going on, we did some land application this week at our farmers, and everything went pretty good. We got cleaned out, which is good for a change, because usually we're not getting everything out of there and it's staying, and then it's just getting wet, more wet.
How did the sawdust?
The sawdust,
Did it work well?
it works. We incorporated at about, the solids were about 11% of them. And we took some samples and we got it to 20%. So we're looking at that concept right now, working with, we got it from Fair Oaks for nothing, but there may be a hauling cost. I'm still working on that with them, and it may be minimal, but it can help us in the long run. So we're in the experimental stages. So sawdust really helps out. It absorbs the water. So we're on the experimental. We got our windrower out. Do some future stuff here to help our solids get better.
Don, the sawdust, when it absorbs the water, it still creates weight, right?
Actually, it's so fine that it's not, it bulks it a little bit, but it's better than hauling liquid, because we can only haul half trucks.
And then you don't get cited, right? That was the issue
And
you
you
guys
will
were
not
getting.
get cited.
Right, but I'm just saying as it absorbs it, the water didn't go away, it's just now in the sawdust.
What does happen is the temperature gets driven up.
Okay.
So it starts, the moisture evaporates. So we have a temperature probe you put in there. And I've been just dabbling around. And it was at 100 degrees where normally it's ambient temperature, 80-something degrees. So we're kind of optimistic on this.
Good job.
So any other questions on the biosolids or?
Good.
And so
We're gonna get to the biosolids.
The pad, yeah.
the other thing I had was staff's working on an aerator that, it's a major undertaking, welding, changing out some bearings. And so that's going pretty good, that process. Other than that, I only had one other thing. I did receive for Fritz Avenue extension of the sanitary sewer. I have the approval by IDEM. I don't know if you've seen that or got conveyed that information. I can get the copies out to you guys. That was one thing John had submitted for the sewer extension. And I do see it out here on the bid. So. Other than that, if you have any other questions.
That bid, you just said it was on that bid, what bid?
This is a Fritz Avenue bid here.
It's on, it's
It's on
to be
the
awarded.
agenda. It's on the agenda.
We have an award, yeah, to be awarded.
Yeah, he gave us.
He's just saying that he got the IDM approval, which is a part of the process.
Right, prior to.
Good.
Plant clarifier project, did that ever, is that one of the ones we held back? Your $500,000?
Yeah.
John, to answer your question, that was another one. I was trying to think throughout the meeting. There's a $500,000 we had allocated this year to plant clarifier. We held that one back because of the escrow.
Any other questions, Don?
How long is that clarifier that we have operating? I mean, what?
How many years has it been in operation?
Yeah.
35.
So
we've
cutting that out was
actually,
not necessarily the best idea, John.
we've actually changed parts in it, you know, but it would need everything, inside to be changed, all the steel. 35 years old. So it's time.
Yeah, what was his expectancy of it?
Well, it's probably about 20 years on a drive. I mean, give or take.
So it's,
A lot of the equipment will last a little longer.
sure, oh, yeah,
Say.
yeah.
But, I always look at 15 to 20 years out.
Yeah.
Is the life expectancy of most equipment.
Yeah, if properly cared for.
If they're maintained properly. So you got 35, so a lot of the people been there 20 plus years. So.
Do you have a preventive maintenance program?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I would like to say something, since Don's up here. I've been over the plant a number of times and looked at some of the processes and seen the maintenance workers working. And those maintenance workers save us a lot of money by them doing in-house work. I wanna thank you very much and thank them for saving USB a lot of money. And you guys, they do a great job. They work their butts off. And
Yeah,
it's
we
very
have
well appreciated.
a well-seated maintenance staff.
Yes, you got
Supervisor is Carl and Steve. They keep it driven.
Nice.
they keep the plant running, and you know what, it costs a lot more money to contract all those jobs out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you bet.
Good job, Carl.
Good job, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
And I just wanna say, I was over there 2 days last week, and I did talk to Don about the roof over the current biosolids pad. I mean, it's leaking like a sieve. It needs to be repaired or replaced, because every time it rains hard, then that goes in on that sludge and just makes it wet. So,
So we're gonna get I'm gonna get some quotes.
we're gonna have to, we have to look at that.
Pretty soon.
Get out there and see that, it's a mess. That's an important plant, and I don't think everybody realizes how important that plant is, because,
If that plant shuts down.
Yeah.
we're all in trouble.
We're all
Yeah, there's days we.
it creeps.
You do an excellent job.
You are doing a good job, you guys
We
are
got
great,
good people. That's all
That's
I
what
need.
matters.
You guys do excellent.
good job.
Good people around us.
You respect it, just like
We
I
do.
said, everybody else, we respect everything
We do.
your folks do as well as Dave's do. So
Thank you.
keep at it. It's been a
Thanks for all
pleasure
you
being
do.
out here.
And Carl
Keep it
too,
going.
and Carl too.
And Carl, of course.
Thank you, gentlemen. Carl, Don, appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
David?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I don't really have anything outside our weekly reports, unless you have any questions for me.
No.
Go ahead, something for me.
Yeah, I'd like to say that what you did at the, on the Willow Creek between Lute and Stone is marvelous. That water is flowing great, and
Thank you.
the bank looks good. You
Nice.
guys cleaned up well, grass all come back. It's an amazing job over there again, just as we talked about.
I see you had a thing out, an application, on the Facebook, how's that going?
Well, we started interviewing today. We had the thing posted for like 3 weeks. One person came and got an application.
I have
Rest of
shared
them
and
I got
shared
from
that.
City Hall. It's
What is-
crazy.
Well,
It's our part-time ditch crew, the ones that clean the ditches. We need to hire, you all allowed us to hire back up to our staffing level 7. I hired 4, or 3 or 4 at the time. I think one of them made out of that batch. People just don't like to come to work, you know? So we reissued that on Facebook this time to see if we can get I see the building department did it, or planning department did it. See if we get something different.
Did you go to Workforce One?
No, they got a whole stack up at City Hall. I just figured I'd try that on our own, send them down to the shop to get an application. We had one kid do it. The rest of them I got out of our stock applications.
Because somebody called me this morning about jobs in the city, and I gave them Courtney's number, so.
And there was a number of people who called me, and I've told them to go down to City Hall and apply, put their application in.
Well, I think we set up 9 interviews, so between
Nice.
today imperative.
Well,
I guess
absolutely.
We need to get someone to help Dan over there with putting these drains in too, or Dan
Well,
Malarick.
funny, yeah, Dan Malarick. Funny thing is, just so you all know, the drainage crew, which is Dan Miller's crew, and they actually work for us, but they're street department employees. Those are the crews we're talking about that we need to do these projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
What happened north of Stone, there on Sunrise? Lady was here last meeting. She showed us pictures of eroding.
I can speak to that. I had a conversation with her on Monday. She was out of town. She was in Atlanta. So Dan and I are going to try to set a time to get out there this week to take a look at that erosion. That was, tell you who that was exactly, Crystal Heron, the 2877 Sunset. So,
It's really frustrating, coming from work. I remember, Clem is, that lady, I believe, came here with a gentleman from the neighborhood. I think that was in March. Might have been April, I have to look back. And now it's August, and we're just going out to meet her. I mean, that's very frustrating.
yeah. And I have been in contact with her. I haven't ignored her, John. I
didn't say you were. The whole process, correct, but she was here the previous month with a gentleman and showed us, complained about it, I believe, in March, right after a big rain. Yes,
No.
yes, she was.
I don't remember her being here.
Okay, well, anyway.
We're addressing it, sir.
Stuff just takes a long time. Is that because of shorthanded?
No, this one is in my lap. I'll take responsibility for it.
Well, I'm not throwing stones at anybody. I just the whole process just takes so long for the residents to get an answer and get someone to get to them.
I think it was just a matter of coordinating schedules between Dan and I and Crystal's availability. We didn't want to go out there and go on her property until she was available.
Yeah. I did.
Hey,
But
keep up the good work.
We good?
Yes.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good work, man.
Thank you to your department, Courtney,
Thank you, Courtney.
Welcome.
and
Thanks for your awesome reports, Courtney.
Both you and Candy, thank you.
Yes, you guys make our window too.
Yeah.
all right, that,
I'm like, I always get left out.
Yeah.
that brings us to unfinished business. The first item is the biosolids project and recommendations from Structure Point. I'd like to make some comments about this project that I don't want to go into great detail, but I think it's worth mentioning some important points about this project. As we all know, this project has probably weared us all down to the point of more than frustration. On July 27th, the project committee met at the project committee meeting that was chaired by Mr. Zilli. We had Structure Point members there. I can't remember, was there a representative from Thieneman?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thieneman, was Vince there? There was a representative from Thieneman. And we got into discussions again about alternatives and what choices we had. And it really came down to, as it does very frequently, money. So we then set up a subsequent meeting out at the plant with Carl and Don, and again, Thieneman representatives and Structure Point representatives, and Chris was there and I was there, and we hashed out the dollars. First came to the conclusion that the biosolids pad is necessary. It's necessary for a couple reasons. One, we don't want to lose the farmer, the one farmer, right? We have one farmer that takes our product because he can't use it anymore. Number two, we don't want to be in a position that we have to landfill these biosolids pads. Because if you think you're spending money now, wait till you get into the cost of landfilling. They're astronomical. So it behooves us to move this project forward. We were not comfortable with the $377,000 price tag. We felt that could be negotiated. And I have to tell you, I see that as one of the real advantages of this board as it exists today, is the willingness to get into negotiations. and get the best bang for our buck. So we did. And it didn't take too long. We came in with a figure of $250,000. That's what was recommended out of the project committee. And we negotiated to $259,000. Now, when we got the change order, it came to $260,000 and some change, $47. So, we're there. We're right where we need to be. So my recommendation to get this project moving, this is an additional $260,000, that we approve the change order so Thieneman can get started and get this project done, because part of this, we are going to be into winter concrete. Can't avoid that. That's part of what's driving this up. But we don't want to delay this any further. I don't think it's in the best interest of this board. It's my recommendation, and the chair would entertain a motion based on what I just said to implement that change order.
I'll make that motion to implement the change order.
So,
is there a second?
so my question on this, that $260,047, is that inclusive of everything? We didn't take anything else out that we were originally taking out to get that number down, right?
So where we were last month, we're actually at 377.
Yes.
And so, and SEH did a great job working with Structure Point, and Structure Point did a great job working with SEH, and Craig was at our last meeting, you'll recall. Those two groups were working together quite a bit over the past several weeks trying to get this done, because they knew we had this timeline, and trying to get the price down. So helped us drive that price down $120,000 about, which has been a great savings for this board, and got us back to the price last month without having to lose anything, which has been outstanding. So and so thank you both to SEH and Structure Point, and Vince also with Thieneman, because those three groups, I think Scott would agree, have really been great to work with over the past couple of weeks. We really kept them on a tight schedule. There was meeting after meeting after meeting, and all three did outstanding work. And Craig presented a lot of data based on his interactions with Structure Point. And Structure Point, I think, had been doing a lot of work all along here. For whatever reason, there was a gap in communication between all the work that they were doing and what all of us were getting up here. And so thank you to Structure Point for that, and thank you to SEH for helping us make sense of all of this.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you for all the work that you did to get this done, working with all the entities, Colin, Sue, myself, we did the meetings, Chris, of course. And, we can mention the other groups here, but I'll tell you what, there's been a sense of getting this done of urgency. And I can't say enough about Don and Carl Nelson with all the knowledge that they were able to give us over the past 2 months, trying to get this thing moving. And I see Mr. Roxett, I think next to Carl over there, working. Carl and Don, thank you for all the work that you guys did on a day-to-day basis, getting us into a position to get this done and to save the taxpayers' money. We have steel that's out there, like Carl said, you guys, that is getting rained on, being rusty. We need to get the job page and Structure Point. Thank you for all your work and dedication.
And we are on a really tight timeline when we were at our meeting the other day. I mean, this timeline, they have to get going and hope everything clicks, because we're running out of time to get this project going.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually out of time.
Okay.
So I guess,
Chris.
real quick, before that, how are we paying for this?
So that was discussed. Mark and I discussed that today with the mayor in our transition meeting. I guess the board can cash flow it, so to speak, by temporarily setting aside the compost pile or the compost site project, pushing that maybe to next year. Let the two new boards sort that one out. Alternatively, we did discuss with the mayor, and I think this had come up at our project meeting, about additional SRF funding for the project. And the mayor wants to explore that further, certainly with the new sanitary board. you all as council, as the city council, would ultimately have to approve any bond. So, you know, I think assuming that you as council members were open to an SRF bond to take on this change order and some of the other things, that could reimburse for the compost pile, and it might be able to reimburse for some of these other projects that want to get done. So no SRF decision has been made tonight. We can cash flow the change order, but that's kind of the thinking of the parties.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
So now if we're gonna have to get a bond, we do make sure that all these projects are included.
Yeah, so what we would do, we wouldn't go get a new bond, we would essentially, like, let's call it reopen the existing.
SRF, because the biosolids and the West Side Interceptor were funded from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
But
good.
yeah, and the mayor had some ideas on some additional things that could perhaps be included in that. And,
Absolutely.
and it frees up then obviously project dollars within the board.
Yeah, 'cause it's not much, it can't be that much, we're talking just a couple connection lines, you know?
Sure, right.
100 feet, couple of them.
All right. We'll call roll, please.
Member Modesto?
Yes.
Member Platt?
Yes.
Member Cannon?
Yes.
Member Zilli?
Yes.
Member Lynch?
Yes.
Member Prisco?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Good job, everyone. Makes me feel good.
Yes, good job. Everyone that's involved, I want to thank you guys.
All right, Fifth Avenue. We need to decide how we're going to move forward on that project. We do have in our packet a recommendation from Great Lakes. We have a bid tabulation for that project as well. And that recommendation was Grimmer Construction for $140,451. So I'd like to open up any discussion on that particular project and what the board is going to recommend.
And I have a question then. What are your thoughts on us recouping that money? I know we keep talking about that, but where are we at?
So, this board, I think in February, heard from me the request from the property owners to, this was after a meeting, I forget who attended, John Hannon was there. They asked us to pay for the extension, they would pay the tap-on fee, which is obviously required, and then they would be required to proceed against the sellers for a misrepresentation, fraudulent misrepresentation, because they didn't disclose this problem, and they would assign any money from that lawsuit to us, and it's actually an arbitration provision. I have no idea on the collectability of the sellers. I haven't looked into that. I know arbitration has been started. Chris can comment on the mayor's position, which is really the result of what, if we become two boards, what would happen with this, because it's a stormwater project.
Sure. So we did discuss this today as part of our transition meeting to get an idea of the mayor's position, because of, you know, just his interactions with the agreed order and those types of things. So, you know, this project originally it came as the board doing the project and perhaps recouping some money from the property owner through their arbitration. In our transitions meetings over the past couple of months, or I guess within the past 6 weeks, the mayor indicated that he felt that that was not appropriate, that he wanted the property owners, I think there are 6 lots, he wanted the 6 lots to pay either up front or maybe put like a lien against the property or something like that. Initially, I guess myself and the council representatives at those meetings had maybe disagreed with that, because that typically isn't how we've done sewer extensions within the city. Typically we run the sewer and then the property owner, they pay their tap on, and that's how they buy into the system. That's what the tap on fee is for. So, you know, we're kind of left with that kind of difference of opinion. So we have, you know, the mayor will, he's agreeable to the project if we either lien the property or make them sign a promise to payment arrangement, basically. I've talked to only one of the council appointments to the utility or the sanitary board, which this would technically fall under as a sanitary project. He was comfortable with. He had some engineering type questions, which I wasn't able to answer. I'm sure we can get them answered. But he was comfortable with the project as it was laid out. He was more of the philosophy that it's the job of the utility to extend sewer service, and then the user taps on. But he was also obviously certainly okay if we make them pay. So that's kind of where we're at. So we have kind of a couple different options depending on which direction we want to go and what the philosophy of this board is.
So I guess my question.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sue.
I think if we remember, though, how that came to us is a recommendation from the health department because it was a health issue.
Right.
Because there was sewage getting out.
It was actually a threat from the health department to shut them down.
I mean, I didn't see us having a whole lot of choices there because it's a health issue.
And it was just like just before that we had Swanson North, which is a half mile to the south. It's another 5 or 6 property owners. Same situation, they were on septic. These were properties built in the late 60s, early 70s. They were on septic, and the septics are now failing, and
the current owner cited that project when they first brought this proposal to us. You did it here, blocks down the road. Why would you do it here?
I guess the only difference between any other time we run sanitary lines somewhere is in this case, the new owner is suing the previous owner. And the part of that lawsuit would be any money they get from it, we would recoup our costs.
So we're actually getting more money than what we normally.
Yeah, because normally if this had just come to us and we would run the sanitary line like we have anywhere else, we would just get the tap-on fee. In this case, we're getting the tap-on fee plus the possibility.
And just so you understand the numbers, what I recall John Hannon saying is the tap-on fees are slightly less than $50,000.
Yes.
And the costs are slightly less, between 120 and 130. So we'd be getting 50 out of 120 for sure.
You know, I'd like to weigh in on this, if I may, as chair. I think we've made somewhat of a commitment to these folks to get this done. And I don't want it to be another project that takes 6 months to make a decision on. I think by going out and seeking this bids, we were doing this in good faith, with the understanding that we would help these people out. Sure. And I'd recommend that we move forward, that we accept the bid, that it was recommended to us by GLE, and award this contract to Grimmer Construction.
I got a question. Yes. When you're done. Where are we going to get the money to pay for this? So is it in the budget?
Well, no, it isn't, Chris. What were you looking at? Here's my question, Ken. If we don't do it, if we said, no, we don't have any money to do it, then are those people going to be evicted because they're creating a health hazard over there?
That would be the county's next step.
Yeah, can I finish what I'd like an answer to my question? Where's the money going to come from?
Yeah, it's the same situation same conversation we had a couple months ago, I think. I mean, this project's been talked about now for several months. We were looking at different options. Having the tap-on fees obviously helped offset some of it, but that probably leaves $90,000. So it's going to have to come out of cash flow, you know, depending on what it's going to have to come out of cash, I suppose.
My suggestion would be to go ahead and do it, but we would, if wherever we get the money at, we'd have to scrape to get the money to do it. This is a business. It's duplexes back there, so he's making money off of these properties. And I would suggest that we put a lien on the property no matter what and recoup our money for this. Because when we ran the sewer lines behind the existing or the property in front of it, it was because there was a couple duplexes and the rest were residential. One unit houses or residential units.
Where at?
Swanson
was 5 duplexes and 1 single family.
I thought there was 5 houses and 2 duplexes.
They're all duplexes. All the ones.
So the ramifications of whatever you vote are I assume the mayor's recourse, if he thinks this approval of the Fitz Avenue MOU and going forward with the project is in violation of the agreed order, he would potentially take us back to court. I don't think it is in violation of the agreed order. We have to comply with all governmental regulations and do day-to-day operations. I think it falls into that category. Plus, this project precedes the agreed order as far as discussion. The other alternative is to wait and ask it to be presented to the sanitary board and see how that board votes. But that's, again, 3-4 months off.
I don't think we should wait. I think we should do it, and then what the mayor suggested is put the liens on there, and in the future, if they want to lift the liens, then that's up to them. Let's get it done.
The only issue, hold on, are you finished, Liz?
Yeah, I think that's the only way to do it is so that the mayor doesn't dispute it. If he's saying put the liens, slap liens on there, then fine, let's do that and move on. And if the board wants to take the liens off, then they can in the future.
John, comment?
How many, I've been down that road, but I didn't count the properties, but how many are we servicing with this?
There's 6 parcels. I don't know how many.
Well, yeah, 6
units.
parcels, 12 units.
A couple of them are duplexes closer to Swanson, and then there's a couple maybe quads or something. Yeah.
So which one has is there just one with a septic issue? None with a septic?
None of them have septic. They all
Have septic.
Right.
Yeah.
They're fail, all of it?
Yes, all of them.
Yeah, we
They're all pump and carry right now.
Yeah, we just gotta do it.
Mark, did you have a comment?
No, the only comment, I mean, you know, when you look at this type of project, there's a county involved, and I heard that the state's involved item. You know, it just becomes an issue when homeowners sell property. The seller, obviously the seller knew there's probably issues there. And then when a buyer goes to a mortgage company or a bank in order to purchase the property, I mean, why don't they do their diligence, their due diligence, and say, hey man, there's an issue here. Now they stick us with this for $140,000. I mean, I'm in favor of doing a lien myself. I mean, really, why should we get stuck carrying a bill? And who knows, and I don't know the seller and I don't know the buyer, but who knows if they didn't discuss this and say, hey, you know what, let's just let this thing ride. You know, let's just this thing ride, let the city pay for it. I'm being honest with you.
Except we did it a year ago.
Huh?
We did the exact same project a year ago for 6 other parcels.
Legally, I'd like to have a question to the council.
But if you-
Legally, can we put a lien against those properties by
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
so? Okay. I just wanted to hear that.
Yeah, so there'd be basically no agreement with the owners. We basically do the project and then charge them the tap-on fee and then leave the property for
Whatever the cost is.
And then let them duke it out.
I guess my concern with the lien is we're kind of setting a precedent that that's what we're going to do anytime we ever run a sanitary line in the future.
We have charged in the past for sanitary lines on Route 6. A lot of businesses on Route 6 had to pay to have the sewer line ran to their business when Sammy Miletta was mayor. I don't know if when Doug was mayor. I do remember they had to pay because I was looking at property and I was told that I had to pay for the sewer line to be ran from where it stopped at Swanson, corner Swanson, the gas station. Or actually that little building next to the gas station on the corner of Swanson and Route 6. I would have to pay to have the line ran all the way down to have access to that. Not just to run it to the main, they were not gonna run it to the main.
But that's outside the city.
No, it's not. It was not. It was right next to Forney's. It was in the city limits.
Okay, the chair would entertain a motion on the Fitz Avenue project. Well, we need a motion. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, but the motion needs to be specific here because we're involving
Motion
liens.
is to proceed with the installation of the sewer lines.
Well, we have to award the contract first, don't we?
Award the contract, and in that motion, can't we add about the liens as all in one motion?
Yes.
So I need somebody to, if you choose to.
I'll go ahead and make the motion that we have Grimmer from Highland, Indiana, do the project. Their quote in a letter from John Hannon sent to the board was for $140,451. There were 3 bids, okay, and that was the lowest bid, according to John Hannon, who was our from Great Lakes. basically said in his letter that, this is a good company, he felt comfortable, and so do I. I've heard of River, if the next little word, they don't have a problem with that. I would also like to put a lien onto the property.
I'll second that motion.
There's been a motion and a second.
Lean in what amount?
For $140,451 and anything to exceed that cost.
So we're gonna lien the.
Yes, because if they go after the previous owner,
That's my question. Are we saying that they're on the hook for $140,451
Yes.
plus the tap-on fees?
if they go after the previous owner and get awarded $140,000, we're only gonna collect the 50 or 90,000.
That whole thing's off the table now.
Yeah.
We either do
Well,
the
I'm
MOU,
looking at in the
cover
future.
cost, or we lean. Those are the two options.
Yeah. If we lien these properties, the MOU is not gonna. We're violating the MOU
There
won't be an MOU. So if they get money, they are gonna have a lien that they're gonna have to pay.
We
But
amend that to 90,000, the difference between the tap-on
I
fee
think
and
it should be 140
cost.
minus the tap.
Right.
What did you?
And what about any attorney fees that we incur as a result of that? We should be able to recoup that.
Yes.
Well, you can recoup that with enforcement of the lien.
Right.
Okay.
But I think the 140 construction cost should be, the lien should be the construction cost minus the tap on fee.
I agree.
do we know the firm amount on the tap-on fees, or can
Just
we?
make the motion minus tap on, if that's the desire, and
It's
we'll
now.
calculate it later.
What he said, I second.
You need to amend.
Motion correct.
Mark.
I'll amend the motion.
I'll take my second back.
I'll say $140,451 minus the tax.
And any,
Any additional cost
Yeah.
would also be
Yes.
part of the lien.
Second.
All right,
I second.
we have a motion and a second. Would you call roll, please?
Member Modesto.
Yes.
Member Clem.
Yes.
Member Cannon.
Yes.
Member Zilli?
Yes.
Member Lynch?
Yes.
Member Prisco?
Yes.
Member Williams?
Yes.
All right. Another good milestone.
Now let's find the money for it.
We'll work on that.
If we
All right.
put a lien
We
on it.
have a few minutes left. I'd like to open the floor for any remonstrances, public input, or any other business. Unless there's any other new business that needs to come before the board. I don't have anything. Do you have anything? Okay. So now's the time for public comment. State your name and address, please.
My name is James Kolecki. Address is 1694 US Highway 20, Portage. Facility and business in my home. It's a one-room store. Came up here last week asking for some help and some relief from the high costs of your stormwater fee being charged for the water that falls from the sky. All of the water that falls from the sky in my facility goes into my retention pond. We had a big storm yesterday. We had 4 inches of water in 1/3 of my retention pond after that storm. We had no overflow, no runoff, nothing. I take care of my own business, I take care of my own people, I take care of all the issues that I have in my facility. My facility has no direct impact on this city's stormwater system in any shape, way, shape, or form. Therefore, I'm asking to be zoned as a non-impact zone with possible reduction in cost of my stormwater fee. You know, it's real easy to sit back and do nothing. It's real hard to stand up and be accountable. I'm asking you guys to be accountable. I'm a lifetime resident, and it's just not me. There's other businesses that are the same boat.
Okay, I'm not sure what a non-impact zone is.
Well,
That
how
is
about
something
an impact?
that, I guess-
Non-impact zone be, it doesn't flow in your.
Is that a legal designation for an area, Mr. Elwood?
Not in our ordinance.
Can it be rewarded?
It could be amended.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We've done it. With gravel.
Right.
All right, well, we'll research that, and I don't know whether that will be this board's decision or whether it may be the decision of the new stormwater board. But
In the meantime, I'd like to make sure that I'm not having any liens put on my property for non-payment of the stormwater bill until it's resolved.
so his bill was adjusted, with the
It's
new
went from, 1140 to 480, but, it's, I don't think you paid ever, right?
I'm not even comparable to my, other, people that I, that have facilities like mine and as large as mine. One facility is, on, 175 East US Highway 20. He pays $175 a month for stormwater fee. Another facility is in, Hobart, Indiana. It's all about storage, and they're paying $330 a month for stormwater fees.
Well, at this time, the board made, so, and that's, so that is the extent of our ability to react to your situation. We are bound by the ordinance.
So the one thing I would say is that.
Is that a true statement, Mr. Elman?
Yes, but part of the transition plan and the agreed order is for the mayor through the stormwater board that's going to be potentially created through the transition plan is to recommend a new rate ordinance. And so we have to wait, the council has to wait for that recommendation, which should come when the transition plan comes.
We're not saying that your issues aren't important. All we're saying, our hands are tied at this point, and as the new board comes about, it sounds like something that they're going to address.
Okay, so I'm asking that there liens to be placed on my property as well until this is all figured out.
I agree with that.
Well, I think he should be paying the fee that he's supposed to be paying, and we already adjusted it. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I think that he needs to pay, and that if the fee gets adjusted, then it'll get adjusted
Well, we
then.
can do this one or two ways, Liz. We can do it legally, if that's what you wish. Or we can do wait and see what comes up. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm definitely not afraid of spending money to save money in the long run.
Are we putting liens on everybody else's property that's not paying their bill?
I guess my question would be, it's a utility bill. If you don't pay your NIPSCO bill because you don't agree with the rate, they're going to do the same thing that this board would do.
I have an alternative. You guys give me no alternative.
Even if you go, yeah.
Chris, are we putting
I mean,
liens on everybody else's property who are not paying their?
We had, this one is not in the, we do them every so often. This one will be in the next batch that would come through. We have not yet. We've held out some of these ones that had filed appeals, like Mr. Polity and some others. But now, I think the boards saw this as resolved as part of the gravel amendment. So unless the board wants me to not lien stormwater fees, or not collect stormwater fees, which I suppose we could do if we want to wait for the new ordinance.
No, I think we still need to collect the stormwater fees.
Well, yeah, because if we don't collect them and then the new ordinance doesn't change anything, what are we going to do for the 6 months we didn't collect it? Send a big bill and say, okay, here's your 6 months that we weren't collecting it. We can't not collect the fees. There was a stormwater fee to begin with before we even went to impervious surface. So we can't not collect the fee.
What is this fee now, Chris?
It was 1140 and now it's 480.
That's when we formed the committee.
Yeah.
We went and reduced the gravel.
Yep.
Reduce the gravel by 6 to 7%.
2/3, or?
Well, I think we need to.
I mean, there is an ordinance in effect.
I'd like to make a motion not to put a lien on this gentleman's property.
What's your motion?
Not to put a lien on this gentleman's property until it's resolved by the end of the year.
I don't personally see this ordinance getting changed, to be quite honest.
I don't either.
Mr. Polity, I don't see this ordinance getting changed.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion? Again, is there a second to the motion? Okay, the motion dies for lack of second.
I appreciate all of your efforts. Each and every one.
Evening, gentlemen, ladies. Chris Scott, owner of property on Douglas Drive. Listen to this gentleman here talk. I missed last month's meeting, so I'm kind of perplexed with what's going on here. Obviously, you guys voted on to split the board up as a water runoff and sanitary. I don't know, we haven't closed meetings here or?
There's a court order, there's a court order, let me just explain it to you, I think the chairman did earlier, there's a court order, our attorneys here, eventually the board's gonna be turned over into two boards, there's a plan going forward, it probably won't happen until the end of the year.
But it is gonna happen.
Yeah, but there is an ordinance that's in effect that this board passed, and that ordinance would have to be changed by the city council, which is this board.
Okay. Well,
So even if the new board.
I went from a bill from $24 a month to $240. Now we're down to $1.20. I talked to Mr. Christopher in his office. He said he was somewhere around $60 a month. Now I could go with that. That's okay. That's over double what it was. Now that's more reasonable.
I understand the frustration, I'm in the same situation.
I'm asking you guys for an appeal. I want my ground to be surveyed again. You know, I'm not gonna pay a bill, any of it, until we get this rectified. Now, I'm not saying
You're
we're
asking, Chris,
pay anything.
you want the land to be remeasured?
Yeah.
Was it
I
measured?
I think it was.
What's the address, Chris? What's the address, please?
1905 Douglas Drive.
Have you been down to the city? Have you filed out the appeal paperwork?
No, I have not. I guess I need to do that.
Yeah.
And who is my councilman?
I am.
You are.
Yes, sir.
When you were in the office and saw the clerk treasurer, you didn't fill out forms, an appeal form?
No, I have not filled out one form more, no.
Did they offer that to you?
Not that I know of.
Did you ask for it? You didn't, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
I'm standing up here, I'm protesting. I'm trying to figure out how to go around.
All right, Chris, we're gonna tell you what you need to do, sir.
My city council here to try to figure this out. That's
I'll
what
tell you what to do. You need to go down.
When I can get here.
Would you like to hear what you need to do, sir?
Sure.
I'm gonna ask you to go down to Chris's office, fill out the paperwork, and then we'll remeasure your property to see if it's being assessed properly for the size, to make sure that the ordinance that's in effect now is applied properly.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking.
All right.
You know, it's just, I still think that your fees for this stormwater is ridiculous and out of control. I really do feel that way.
Well, we appreciate that. We've heard that on numerous occasions.
I mean,
And,
a small business guy can't take that kind of punishment. You guys are almost half again more of what our property taxes is to Porter County itself. And you guys are getting a cut of that too. So, I mean, it's a lot of money. And we got problems down there, so, yeah, I'll fill it up.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
And you are my councilman. And you
Yes,
are-
I am.
You are in the same building where Christopher's at?
No.
We don't have offices.
We don't have
I don't
offices.
have office. Okay.
We don't even have a council chamber.
That's why we meet in Woodland Park.
All right, well, maybe I can get your card?
Absolutely. After the meeting, I'll run out to my vehicle.
Okay.
And get you my card.
That'd be fine, because I need to, you're my councilman, you're the man I need to talk to. All right, there you go.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed?